My name is Willow, and my friend Lark and I, two young river otters, had been eagerly anticipating the spring migration for weeks. We were both college juniors, resource-strapped and yearning for a change of scenery, a break from the familiar routines of our daily lives. We couldn't afford a grand migration to the sun-drenched southern shores, the exotic locales whispered about in hushed tones, so we settled on a budget-friendly rental burrow near the historic district of Willow Creek. 5 nights of exploring the charming cobblestone pathways, feasting on delectable local fare, and socializing in the bustling watering holes. It was exactly what we needed to rejuvenate our spirits and escape the pressures of our studies. Plus, it was my first migration season since coming of age, so I wouldn't have to constantly worry about being turned away from the popular watering holes, the places where the older otters gathered, their laughter and chatter echoing through the night. By the 3rd night we had established a comfortable routine, exploring the historic district during the day, soaking in the rich culture and vibrant atmosphere, and hopping between quaint eateries and lively watering holes in the evening, savoring the flavors and sounds of Willow Creek. We weren't heavy drinkers, preferring to enjoy the ambiance and the company of our fellow travelers, so we found more enjoyment in simply experiencing what the city had to offer, in immersing ourselves in the local scene. Early that evening we stumbled upon a quaint fish shack, a hidden gem tucked away in a quiet corner of the district. Fried fish, crawdad hush puppies, and sweet river tea. It was a perfect local experience, a taste of authentic Willow Creek cuisine. But our peaceful meal was interrupted when my communicator buzzed, its insistent vibration breaking the tranquility of the moment. It was a number I didn't recognize, a string of unfamiliar digits. The message simply read, "Hey." I stared at it, puzzled, wondering who could be contacting me. I showed Lark, and she didn't recognize it either, her brow furrowed in confusion. We assumed it was a scam, some automated message trying to lure us into a trap, but it was unusually brief, lacking the typical persuasive language of such messages. I replied, "Who is this?" and returned to our meal, dismissing it as a minor annoyance. Moments later, another text arrived, its message chillingly direct. "Look outside." I glanced towards the window, expecting to see a familiar face, a friend who had coincidentally migrated to Willow Creek, a playful prankster trying to surprise us. But there was no one, just the usual stream of creatures passing by, their movements ordinary, their expressions unremarkable. I told Lark someone was messing with me and she agreed it was probably just a prank, a harmless attempt to startle us. I laughed, trying to dismiss the unease that was creeping into my thoughts, but a sense of unease settled over me. None of our friends were prone to such pranks, their personalities more inclined towards playful banter than unsettling surprises. Then, another message arrived, its single word sending a shiver down my spine. "Willow." My heart skipped a beat, a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins. If this creature knew my name, it wasn't a random prank. It wasn't a mistaken identity. I showed Lark, and she reminded me of a giveaway we entered at a local cafe on our first day in Willow Creek. We had given our names and communicator numbers for a chance to win a free meal, a seemingly harmless act of participation. It had completely slipped my mind, but it made sense, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. We realized whoever was texting me probably had Lark's number too, and the two of us kind of freaked each other out, our imaginations conjuring up scenarios of unknown creatures watching our every move. Dinner wasn't as enjoyable after that, the atmosphere tainted by a sense of unease. We felt exposed, vulnerable, as if we were being watched from the shadows. We paid the bill and decided to head to a crowded rooftop watering hole across town, hoping to blend into the crowd, to lose ourselves in the anonymity of the bustling establishment. After a few drinks, we started to relax again, the tension easing, the laughter returning. But then another message arrived, its content far more disturbing. "That's a nice crimson scarf." I froze, my breath catching in my throat. I was wearing a crimson scarf, a vibrant splash of color against my dark fur, and I was one of the few wearing that color in the crowded watering hole. I frantically scanned the crowd, my eyes darting from face to face, but it was impossible to see who was watching, who was sending these chilling messages. We decided to return to the rental burrow, our laughter replaced by a nervous silence. I kept looking over my shoulder, but we weren't being followed, at least not visibly. Once inside, we bolted the door, checked the locks, and closed the curtains, trying to create a sense of security, a barrier against the unseen threat. An hour later, we were hungry, but we didn't want to leave the safety of our burrow. We ordered river grub delivery, opting for the convenience of having food brought to our doorstep. I always set my delivery preferences to leave at door, due to a past incident with a delivery otter, an experience I preferred not to dwell on. The estimated wait time was long, stretching out like an eternity. We distracted ourselves by watching a mindless reality show, trying to shake off the lingering paranoia from earlier. Eventually, there was a knock at the door, a sharp, insistent rapping that sent a jolt of fear through me. I checked my communicator, and the delivery notification was there, but there was no photo, which was unusual, a subtle detail that heightened my suspicion. I looked through the peephole. It was a large, hooded figure holding our food, their face obscured by the shadows of their hood. I expected them to leave it, as per my delivery instructions, but they just stood there, their posture tense, their presence unsettling. They knocked again, their voice muffled, saying, "River grub for Willow." I told them to leave it, but they insisted I needed to sign something, their tone insistent, their words laced with an unsettling urgency. That wasn't right. Delivery otters never required signatures for leave-at-door orders. We exchanged a knowing glance, a silent acknowledgement of the danger. Lark dialed the burrow guards, mouthing, "Just in case," her voice barely a whisper. The figure started knocking more aggressively, their patience wearing thin, claiming they had other deliveries to make. When I didn't respond, they jiggled the doorknob, their movements frantic, their desperation palpable. When that didn't work, they started banging on the door, shouting my name, their voice echoing through the burrow, a chilling reminder of their presence. I thought they were going to break the door down to force their way inside. Then, I heard sirens in the distance, a sound that brought a wave of relief. The banging stopped. I heard the bag of food fall to the porch, followed by rapid footsteps running away. We rushed to a window and saw two guards tackling the figure a few burrows down, their movements swift and decisive. They cuffed him and took him away. The guards came to our burrow, and we told them everything, recounting the messages, the suspicious delivery, the unsettling encounter. They said they had been patrolling nearby when Lark called, their presence a stroke of fortunate timing. It turned out the figure worked at the cafe. He had photographed the giveaway forms and had been following us since that afternoon, probably because we had written down that we were just visiting for spring break, making us easy targets. The guards believed he had followed us home from the watering hole and waited for the delivery. He likely convinced the delivery otter to give him the food, pretending to be someone we knew. He also had a criminal record, which was terrifying, a chilling realization of the danger we had faced. The rest of our trip was ruined, the carefree spirit replaced by a lingering sense of unease. I was relieved to leave Willow Creek, to return to the familiar comfort of our own territory. I still don't know what his plan was, what he intended to do if we had opened the door. But I shudder to think what might have happened if Lark hadn't called the guards, or if they hadn't arrived in time, a chilling reminder of the vulnerability we had experienced.